What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel once again. My name is Jeff Bailey. Today we're looking at the Northfield 25 Barlow from 2017, the last of the 25s for me. Wanted to get this one out a little sooner, but that's just how those things go sometimes. I got the Ironwood after being so thoroughly pleased with my Ironwood 66. Go check that video out if you haven't seen it already. I decided I'd look into this, and didn't occur to me until recently, but I believe that Mike Latham at Collector Knives was responsible for the choices on the 25s Barlows. Maybe he's carrying that Barlow interest over from, of course, he does the run of 77 SFO Northfield Barlows, so maybe he just carried over that Northfield ownership into the 25 Barlows. So like I said, Ironwood, I've actually already got out of the tubes. That's just for looks. And here she is. Very pleased with the wood grain on mine. Actually wasn't even the first one that I got, which is part of the reason of the delay of this video. I got one, was unsatisfied with my wood grain, and ended up selling that and finding another. Turns out Ironwood, I guess, can vary quite a bit. So this one is camera's having some trouble focusing with that shine on there. But this one, you have the nice mix that I like of the light browns and the dark browns. It's very uniform. The two slide covers kind of complement each other well. They kind of both run on the same angle. Maybe they were taken from a similar spot or same spot in a piece of wood, which would be a nice touch. But some of this iron ends up looking a lot lighter than this. Some of it ends up looking a lot darker than that, borderline ebony in some cases. And maybe some people are looking for that, but I really like seeing the variation, the light and the dark, which is what really drew me to this one in particular. Probably the most prominent feature of any Barlow is the bolsters, and these ones feature the unexcelled, which of course is sort of the Northfield, I don't know, motto, trademark, I guess you could say. They are polished, which probably means they're going to be scuffed up before too long. I have carried this once or twice since getting it. I was very excited about it, and somebody owned it briefly before me, but still pretty good polish on those bolsters. That nice deep set unexcelled lettering in there. Rounded bolsters, so there's no lines here. It's kind of like the bolsters on the 25 Northwoods that we looked at before, except I believe these are nickel instead of that stainless steel. Also, we're looking at brass pins, brass liners on the back there. Beautiful that that wood grain even carries into that that side view and the spine. It's all finished very nicely to a pretty well centered, maybe slightly off on this side blade there, but unlike the Titty Ute and unlike the Northwoods, we are back to that spear shape. However, unlike the Titty Ute, we have, instead of that drawn swedge with the nail nick, we have the cut swedge, where it just starts abruptly right there after that really sweet long pull. I like a long pull on the knives. I really think that looks nice. This one is really good transitions all around, really nicely put together. Probably my only gripe with fit and finish on this is that this one pin here on this side they all look pretty good. This one here is a little bit recessed. You see it almost disappears there at an angle. But honestly, that's nitpicking on this knife overall, which I think is very nice looking knife. And it's a good size in the hand. I've not really carried the 25 yet, so I think that would be something new for me. I've not owned one before. That swedge, by the way, on both sides there of that mane. So that'd be something to get used to. I tell you what, the one thing I do like about this guy, as opposed to my Northwoods, is that pull on this one, I still can't pinch open this right. But the pull on this guy, somehow, some reason, maybe it's just me, maybe it's where that pull is here on the long pull. Don't know what it is. This one opens easier for me, and that's a plus, because my main complaint with the 25 so far has been, you know, I'm about ready to take a Dremel and get an easy open there, because it is a pain to open. And I don't really have very brittle nails. I know some people do, and frankly, I know people that would just try to open that once and say, well, no, this knife isn't for me. It's, you know, it looks nice, but I can never open that, you know. And what good's having a knife that, excuse me, what good's having the knife that you can't get open easily, or it's uncomfortable to do so. So fortunately, this one is not quite so bad. Time will tell how I feel about this as far as a user, but certainly as a looker, it is very nice looking. And honestly, I was thinking it was a pretty small Barlow, because I'm comparing it to like the 77 stuff, but I got a couple older Barlows recently. You guys saw the Russell Barlow in the TC Barlow video, and it's not that much smaller than those, and it's a lot more stocky. You know, it's a little bulldog of a knife. I would take the Titty out now for us to get a look at it alongside here, but I don't own it anymore. I actually let that one go. Once I saw this guy with these amazing Ironwood covers, I knew that that was the route I was going to be going long term. So went ahead and sold it to help fund this guy, because you know, I'm not made of money, folks. Knives like this are expensive. They're hard to get. A lot of times you have to purchase them sight unseen and hope for the best. So I end up selling a lot of the knives I get just to pay for the next one, or buying them and then trying to sell them at least at as close to break even as I can, just to be able to do the videos. Because you know, I enjoy doing the videos. I enjoy getting to handle the knives. Fortunately, they do tend to hold value pretty well, especially new. And sometimes you can even make a little bit of money, although I try not to. I've talked about it before, but I try not to fall into that camp of scalpers. But I do still have the Northwoods, so let's take a look at those side by side. All right, so here's our Northwoods again, and I can definitely tell you that that's a much less comfortable experience opening that little clip blade on there. Listen to the sound that makes. Compare that to this sound here with this blade. Hear how much that's. I don't know whether it's the steel here, but they're both going against a steel back spring. Compare that here. I mean, that just, I can feel the thud in the table when that thing hits half stop. You know, it's, I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head, but let's take a look here. You can immediately see the difference in that steel bolster versus the nickel. The steel is just going to be much more that sheer bright, I don't know, kind of cool color, and you get a little bit of warmer color on that nickel bolster. Obviously, these are going to have the same sizing overall. You do have the all steel construction on one versus you have the brass playing a role in there on the other. And then obviously, we talked about the pulls. You have the spear blade. Oh gosh, you know, I don't know if that made a mark there. Sort of did. You can see where it's a lighter color into my fingernail. It's just not comfortable. Instead of that spear blade, you end up with the clip there. What's interesting is when you hold those side by side, they almost have the same belly to them. If I overlap them a little bit here, it's even more apparent. You see that? The points come up to about the same place. I think maybe it's a little bit different shape, of course, from one to the other, but they're very similar. Very similar. Anyway, that's the 25 Northfield. These would be the 225 staying with me for now. They're different enough that I think it's warranted not getting rid of both of them too soon. But there's plenty of people who have dozens of these little 25s, and they are very cool, very collectible. The steel ends up being a lot more heavy than this version as well, but a lot, you know, is to be taken with a grain of salt. I mean, they're not large knives, so they're not all that heavy. But anyway, yeah, this has been the Northfield 25 Barlow Ironwood handles, Northfield unexcelled. Did forget to look at the tank stamps here. Of course, you got the Northfield unexcelled, made in USA. Flip side, got Great Eastern Cutlery, Titusville Ironworks in the model number. Anyway, like I was saying, hope you enjoyed the video. Always appreciate likes, subscribes, comments. I do read pretty much every comment. Maybe that's sort of a rite of passage for the moderately successful YouTubers when you aren't able to read every comment, but we haven't hit that yet. So keep them coming. I do read them, and I enjoy that interaction and that feedback. So until next time, guys, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.